Hi, in this last series of videos we will be closing the loop, meaning that we will use PHP to utilize the data after the user has submitted the form. We will actually take that data and email it to somebody, where it will be back to us, to the developer of the form. Now note that the usual scenario is that the data is stored in a database, but this goes out of scope of these videos. Now, to process and email the data, a web server with PHP is needed. So the typical workflow, to remember what we did in the previous videos, where we saw that we defined what the events are. So that was, for example, when a user submits the form after having inserted the data. And then we had all sorts of videos where we looked at validating the data in the browser with JavaScript, also providing feedback to the user, and so forth and so on. Now we will actually finish that typical workflow, where we will let the user actually submit the data, and then the browser actually sends the data to the server. Then usually we need to revalidate the data for security with PHP and then utilize the data. So for example, store it in the database. In this series of videos we will actually send an email with the data. Now the steps, there are 3 steps. First, we need to make an account on a web server. The second step is to connect our editor to the web server, so that we can write that PHP file directly to the web server. And finally, make that new PHP file that will receive the user's submitted data. Now the first step is to make an account on a web server. There are several free ones, and of course there are several paid ones. So if you would Google, for example, free web hosting with PHP, you're gonna find a lot of options. The one that I'm gonna use is 000webhost.com. This is one of the many options. So this concludes the first video. So please take 10 minutes to create an account at one web host. So if you have already an account on a paid one, you're welcome to use your own. Otherwise, you can always make an account at 000webhost.com.